Hi, I'm Anaya. For most of my life, I've been the go-to person in my family. Need help with college tuition? Call Anaya. Car broke down? Anaya will cover the repairs. Emergency dental surgery? You know who to ask. I never minded, really. After my husband passed away 10 years ago, supporting our only son, Marcus, became my purpose. Mom, the rent is due tomorrow, Marcus said during our weekly Sunday dinner, barely looking up from his phone. I set down my fork and reached for my purse. How much this month? 2,000. Oh, and the car insurance is due Friday. My daughter-in-law Tessa shot him a look. Marcus, we talked about this. Marcus shrugged. What? Mom doesn't mind. Right, Mom? Of course not, sweetie, I said, writing the check. Everything okay at work? It's fine, just a temporary cash flow issue. He'd been having temporary issues for 3 years now. Have you considered asking for more hours? I suggested gently. Or maybe looking for something with better pay? Marcus sighed dramatically. Mom, I've told you, the barista job is just a stepping stone. I'm focusing on my business connections. What business connections? David asked, joining us at the table after arriving late. Networking, Marcus replied vaguely. Building my personal brand. Tessa's mother, Vivian, cleared her throat from across the table. She was visiting for the week, and I'd invited them all over for dinner. In my family, Vivian said, cutting her chicken with surgical precision, we believe in financial independence after college. I always told Tessa, sink or swim, darling. Well, different families have different approaches, I replied, trying to keep my voice light. Clearly, Vivian said with a thin smile. Tessa never asked for a dime after graduation. Marcus nodded enthusiastically. Viv's amazing that way. She taught Tessa everything about budgeting and investing. Marcus, Tessa whispered. What? It's true. Mom's great with the emotional stuff, but when it comes to practical life skills? He trailed off with a shrug. I felt my chest tighten, but forced a smile. We all have different strengths. Anaya has been the backbone of this family, David interjected firmly. She put Marcus through college without a single student loan. And I'm grateful, Marcus said quickly. Really, Mom, you're the best. Later that evening, I was in the kitchen loading the dishwasher when I overheard Marcus talking to Tessa in the living room. I'm just saying, your mom raised you to be self-sufficient. Mom's more of the coddling type. She's generous, Marcus. Don't take advantage, Tessa replied. I'm not. But let's be real. Mom will never be as practical or wise as your mother. Viv built her own business from nothing. Mom just lived off Dad's life insurance. I froze, the plate in my hand suddenly heavy. That's not fair, Tessa said. Your mom has supported you through everything. Yeah, because she doesn't know how to let go. Viv would never enable her kids like that. My brother David walked into the kitchen then, catching my expression. What's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost. I set the plate down carefully. I just heard my son tell his wife I'll never be as good as her mother. David's eyes widened. What? After everything you've done for him? Apparently, I'm just an ATM with no practical wisdom, I whispered. What are you going to do? David asked. I straightened my shoulders. If his mother-in-law is so perfect, maybe she should start handling his bills. He actually said that? My best friend Lena's voice crackled through the phone the next morning. After you just wrote him a check for rent? And car insurance, I added, staring at my bank statement. Plus the 3 credit cards I pay off monthly. Girl, you've been supporting that man since he graduated college. What is he, 32 now? 33 next month, I sighed. I thought I was helping him get established. For 12 years? That's not helping, that's enabling. What does Tessa think about all this? I twirled the phone cord around my finger. She seems uncomfortable, but she works hard at her job while Marcus is still finding his path. Finding his path to your wallet, more like, Lena snorted. What did David say? He thinks I should cut Marcus off completely, but I'm worried about Tessa. This isn't her fault. Then maybe you should talk to her directly, Lena suggested. Find out what's really going on. I'm scared of what I might discover, I admitted. What if this is worse than I thought? Honey, it's already bad enough. You're bankrolling a grown man who compares you unfavorably to his mother-in-law. How much worse could it be? What if Tessa's in on it too? What if they're both using me? Lena clicked her tongue. Then you'll know the truth. But my gut says Tessa's not the problem. That girl works overtime most weeks while your son is networking at coffee shops. That afternoon, I invited Tessa for coffee while Marcus was at his part-time barista job, the only consistent employment he'd maintained in years. Thanks for meeting me, I said as we settled at a quiet corner table. Tessa fidgeted with her napkin. Is this about what Marcus said? I told him he was out of line. It's about more than that. How much does Marcus rely on me financially? Tessa's eyes darted around the cafe. I don't really know the details. You don't know that I pay your rent and your car payment and his credit cards? Her face paled. The rent, yes, but all of that? I thought it was just occasional help. Tessa, I've been covering about 80% of your household expenses for years. But Marcus said he was handling our finances, she whispered. He told me his web design business was taking off. What web design business? Tessa's eyes filled with tears. The one he started 3 years ago. He said he was making good money. I reached for my phone and pulled up my banking app. Here. These are all the transfers I've made to him in just the last 6 months. Tessa's hand flew to her mouth as she scrolled through the transactions. Oh my God, this is thousands. $43,872 since January, I said flatly. But where has it all gone? We live in a modest apartment. We don't take vacations. I buy my clothes at outlet stores. That's what I'd like to know, I replied. And I think it's time we both had a conversation with Marcus. David joined us later at my house. You called his bluff yet? I'm waiting for him to arrive. Tessa's been texting him for the last hour. The doorbell rang and Tessa jumped. That's him. When I opened the door, Marcus stood there with a concerned expression. Mom, what's this emergency meeting about? Come sit down, I said, gesturing to the living room where David and Tessa waited. Marcus's eyes narrowed when he saw them. What is this, an intervention? Consider it a financial review, David said coolly. I don't understand what's happening, Marcus said, looking between us. I took a deep breath. Yesterday you told your wife that I would never be as good as her mother. Marcus shifted uncomfortably. Mom, you took that out of context. Let me finish, I interrupted. You said I'm not practical or wise like Vivian, that I just coddle you and don't know how to let go. I was just venting, Marcus protested. You know how Vivian can be so judgmental. The problem isn't what Vivian thinks of me, I said. It's that you've been lying to your wife about money while taking advantage of me. Marcus turned to Tessa. What is she talking about? Tessa held up her phone, displaying my bank statement. I know about all the money, Marcus. Every payment, every transfer. That's private, Marcus snapped. Mom, you had no right. She had every right, David cut in. It's her money. You stay out of this, Marcus pointed at David. This is between me and my mother. No, I said firmly. David stays. He's been warning me for years that I was enabling you. I should have listened sooner. Marcus stood up, pacing. Look, I've been under a lot of pressure. The business is just taking longer than expected to turn a profit. What business? Tessa asked. I called the domain registrar. Our website doesn't exist. It never has. Marcus's face flushed. I can explain. Where has the money gone, Marcus? I asked quietly. Investment opportunities, he muttered. Some didn't pan out. Like what? David pressed. Cryptocurrency mostly, and sports betting. I was trying to build capital fast so I wouldn't need Mom's help anymore. Tessa gasped. You've been gambling? With her money? It's not gambling when you have a system, Marcus insisted. I've just had a run of bad luck. $43,872 worth of bad luck since January alone, I said. You don't understand how these things work, Marcus said, his voice rising. High risk, high reward. One good bet could have doubled or tripled that investment. It's not an investment when you're using someone else's money without their knowledge, Tessa said, her voice shaking. It's theft. Marcus turned to me, his expression softening. Mom, I'm sorry. I should have told you, but I was going to pay it all back with interest once things turned around. And when would that be? I asked. Soon. I've got a promising lead on. Stop, I cut him off. No more lies. I'm not lying, Marcus's voice rose. God, why doesn't anyone believe in me? Because you've given us no reason to, David said. I stood up, facing my son. I'm done, Marcus. No more money, no more payments, no more bailouts. His face darkened. You can't do that. We have bills due next week. Then let Vivian handle them, I said, since she's so much wiser than me. This isn't funny, Mom, Marcus snapped. We could lose our apartment. I'm not joking, I replied. I'm cutting you off, completely. Marcus stepped toward me, his hands clenched. You're just doing this to hurt me. You've always been controlling. Back up, David warned, standing. This is my mother, Marcus shouted. Stay out of it. Don't speak to my brother that way in my house, I said. Marcus jabbed a finger toward me. You'll regret this. I swear you'll regret cutting me off when I need you the most. You're supposed to be my mother. And you're supposed to be an adult, I replied. Marcus grabbed a vase from the side table and hurled it against the wall. Is this what you want? To ruin my life? Tessa screamed as glass shattered across the floor. Get out, I said, my voice shaking. Get out of my house right now. The police said they can charge him with criminal damage and making threats, David explained the next morning as we swept up the last shards of glass. I don't want to press charges against my own son, I sighed. Anaya, he threatened you, David insisted. Said you'd regret it, then destroyed your property. What happens when he shows up demanding money again? I know you're right, I said quietly. It's just hard to reconcile this person with the little boy I raised. That little boy grew into a man who needs serious help, David replied. Sometimes love means setting boundaries, even when it hurts. My phone buzzed with a text from Tessa. Can we talk? I'm at the coffee shop around the corner. 20 minutes later, I slid into the booth across from her. Her eyes were puffy from crying. How are you holding up? I asked. I moved in with my mom temporarily, she said. I can't believe I didn't know about any of this. It's not your fault, I assured her. She twisted her wedding ring. Marcus came by Vivian's house this morning, demanding she loan him money. What happened? Mom told him to grow up and get a real job, Tessa said with a hollow laugh. He didn't take it well. I'm sorry. Don't be. You were right to cut him off. She reached across the table and squeezed my hand. The police called me. They picked Marcus up for trespassing at your brother's office. My stomach dropped. What did he do? David filed a restraining order after Marcus showed up making demands and threats. She pushed her coffee away. I'm filing for separation. I can't be married to someone I don't recognize anymore. Are you sure that's what you want? I asked gently. Tessa's eyes filled with tears. I thought I knew him. 6 years of marriage, and I had no idea he was capable of this. He's been lying to both of us for years. How do you come back from that? I don't know, I admitted. But whatever you decide, I'm here for you. Even though I'm his wife? Your family, Tessa. That hasn't changed. 2 weeks later, David and I sat in the courthouse waiting room while Marcus appeared before the judge on charges of criminal damage, trespassing, and making threats. Miss Reynolds? A police officer approached us. Your son's hearing is finished. How did it go? I asked. The judge ordered restitution for damages, 50 hours of community service, mandatory financial counseling, and anger management classes. David nodded approvingly. And the restraining orders? Both upheld for 6 months, with possible extension. As we left the courthouse, I spotted Marcus being escorted out by his court-appointed attorney. He saw me and started in our direction, but the attorney held him back. Mom, please, he called out. Just 5 minutes. I hesitated, but David placed a gentle hand on my back. Not today. He needs to respect the court order. Later that evening, Lena and David came over for dinner. He called me again, Lena said, setting down her fork. Tried to convince me to talk to you about reconsidering your position. What did you tell him? I asked. That he made his bed and now he can sleep in it, Lena replied. That boy needs to learn consequences. David refilled our wine glasses. The real test will be when the restraining orders expire. By then, maybe the court-mandated counseling will have helped, I said. And if it hasn't? Lena asked. I straightened my shoulders. Then nothing changes. I love my son, but I won't fund his lies anymore. Tessa mentioned he's moving into a studio apartment next week, David said. Got a full-time job at that marketing firm downtown. Good, I nodded. That's a start? Are you going to be okay? Lena asked gently. This can't have been easy. I looked around at the faces of the people who truly supported me, who saw my worth without comparison. I already am okay, I said. For the first time in years, actually, I just wish... What? David prompted. I wish I'd stood up for myself sooner, I admitted. But it's never too late to learn new boundaries, is it? Lena raised her glass. To new beginnings, and to knowing your worth. As we clinked glasses, my phone lit up with a text from Marcus. Can we talk? I miss you. I'm sorry about everything. I turned the phone face down without responding. Some lessons are learned through conversation. Others must be learned through consequences. Have you ever had to cut someone off for your own well-being? What happened next?